Hi guys, I'm back. Got the Philco 60. I got the cabinet set in here. I got the radio out. I'll show you some things I found. Here's the front of the cabinet. So the cabinet's not in too bad a shape at all, really. So the sides will need not much attention. There's a little, like, some sort of stuff on it, dirt of some sort. So, but otherwise, it's a little bit. It looks like some finish loss there. A little dusty inside and stuff. The interesting thing is the rubber seemed to be in good shape, as well as the rubber mounts for the tuning condenser. There's a little bit of gluing here that will have to be done, but that's about it. So anyway, got the chassis out and been turned into it. It's got some rust on it. A little bit here, and right up in here. We've got a bunch of wax here, and I'll show you why that's there. Of course, grid leads are not in the best of shape, although this one here is not too bad. And I just went ahead and cut the speaker wires. They were just pretty much cracking and breaking up. As far as the radio goes, everything except for the filter caps are original in the radio. At this point in time, I'm going to just restuff the caps, fix the other problems, clean up the controls, and leave the resistors in, because the most out tolerance right now of the resistors is only 30%. Most of them are running 20% or less out tolerance. There's a few that are up to about 30% out tolerance. I'm not as concerned about those because of their location. They are located mostly in grid circuits. The only ones that I will be a little concerned about is this 25K here is about 30% high, so we're going to see how the voltages turn out on the screen of the 78. You know, this is the voltage divider for B+, supplying the oscillator and the screen. So we'll check those. You know, the resistors are out of tolerance, but not, like I said, the most is 30%. So at worst case scenario, the voltages will be a little bit lower. I'm not really concerned about that. This one here is about 30% out, this 100K. It's in the grid circuit. The interesting thing is they continued using this basic design circuit clear up through, you know, a year later in the 610. And although this 1 meg is right on the money, but this one here they had changed to like a 490K. So this being 130K, I'm not going to be that concerned. It's fixed bias. Grids don't draw current for all practical purposes, so this is not really going to change what the grid of the 75 is seeing for bias voltage. Now, with that being said, let's start looking at some problems. Right down in here, in this area here, is that fixed bias resistor. There's two resistors, wire wound, designed to, it's hooked into the center tap between ground and the center tap of the high voltage secondary. It's this guy right here, typical Philco. Develops the negative biases for basically the two output tubes, or your first audio on your output tube. So this little guy, when I first got the radio out, this is what I found. It's, hopefully you can see that, she's badly burnt, although it now this side is measuring okay. This side is low, it's still measuring. It's supposed to be 235, it's measuring about 180, so I imagine some of the wires have shorted in the turns. Not a big deal, because I've got one. This is what it should look like, or similar to this. This one's a little newer, so this resistance a little bit off from this one. I'm not going to be that concerned about it. If it does give me any problems, I can tie a resistor in series to bring that up a little bit, but we're only talking like it's about 5 ohms difference, so I'm not going to really get concerned. But that's what they should look like. So that was the first thing I found. Well, then I decided to do some resistance checks. First thing, power transformer. I had no primary. Well, the first thing I did was, the way I checked it was just go to the end of the plug, you know, and check it from there. And turn the switch on. Well, first thing I thought, you know, Philco is good about their switches being bad, original ones. So, you know, I suspected the switch. Now, the switch is fine. So I ended up disconnecting the primary completely and measuring directly, and still nothing. Also, I was getting weird readings on the high voltage secondary. It was like in the mega ohms and fluctuating. So I knew I had problems. So I disconnected it, took it apart. That's what is seen inside the can. You notice all this rippling, and that's the paint caused primarily by heat. And this is what I found. If you've never seen a burned up transformer, this is a burned up transformer, and I wish we had smell-o-vision, because it does have a nice odor to it. But that's what a burned up transformer looks like. It is charred and crackly. In fact, when I pulled it out of here, these two guys fell free. These are the primary leads. They literally were burnt off. So they just literally fell loose. So basically, the primary went out. The wires burnt completely off, and of course probably the coils completely burned up. Secondary's gone. We've got this, at least this part, burned up. So what's going on now? This resistor seems to be fine. This guy's low enough ohmage but high enough wattage, it probably survived. I think really mainly it was just the current going through this. Now I suspect two things happened. First of all, one thing, if you notice this capacitor right here, 0.05, it's attached right on to the lead coming right down through here. Alright, and goes up through the field winding and field coil and comes back. This guy was dead shorted, and he was hooked up. I mean, it's 0 ohms basically. Another one of the sections was also dead shorted but was disconnected. This one right here had shorted, and someone had disconnected it fairly recently, because they had fairly new black. They taped the end where of the cap wire, which I don't know why, but they did tape it, and it was fairly new electrical tape. So that's what's inside here. This one shorted and this one shorted. Well, this one, you know, like I said, it would draw full power. Plus, this guy was severely leaking. Not quite a dead short, but severely leaking. Enough that it actually had lifted out of the can. It had bulged completely out of the container. If you know Philco, I went ahead and took it apart, but these are the Philco tone controls. This was about like that. It lifted out that much, and so it was shoving it out. These guys are in a can. I went ahead and pulled them out. The can was actually bulging out. I've straightened it up quite a bit. So that's one thing. The other thing is the filter caps had been replaced. This one first, a long time ago, and they replaced it with this Illinois capacitor. Instead, they didn't have an 8, they used a 10, which is fine, 450 volts. I'll live with. You know, it'd be better if it had been 500, but 450 we'll deal with it. And it's kind of charred, but it's not shorted and it's not open. It is measuring capacitance, although it's leaky. It was hooked right pretty much right up close here, and that's why it got charred. So why there's black on it. Okay, that was replaced quite a while back. Then this one dried out. They removed the can. This can was still in place. They just cut the end off and kept the wires and then soldered that onto that end. This one went bad. Probably just dried up. They're wet electrolytics. And so someone more recently, the cap date is 1976, so sometime in the 70s, maybe early 80s at the latest, replaced it. But it was two can capacitor with two capacitors in it. They went ahead and paralleled in the other section across this guy, because maybe they felt that it was leaky or something, but they didn't disconnect it, they just paralleled it. With this, and I doubt the camera will pick it up real good, it's 100 microfarads on both sections. This thing's looking for 8 to 10 most, but we got 100 microfarads. But the more interesting thing is, and I can look at it real close with a magnifying glass, but the paper's kind of been tore off, but it's still, the ink's still showing. 350 volt caps. Okay. The first cap here, after the radio's up and running and everything is, you know, the radio's operating and everything, the voltage here is around 340, 350. So we're running that cap right at its top end. This part. Now it's going to have some drop once it goes through this 1100 ohms here and back down, so this will be much less than that. In fact, it's like roughly around 250 volts, so 350 is fine there. When this radio first turns on, when the 80 starts conducting everything, it can peak out upwards close to 500 volts as caps draw the current before the tubes start drawing. So, you know, that's really putting a lot across here. Plus the fact they're 100 microfarad. That's really asking a heck of a lot for an old transformer to put out. So I think between this and those other shorts is what did this damage here. Not the end of the world. I have a transformer, not a Philco that will fit in here, but one that will fit. They'll look roughly the same. You know, these are a little bit narrower here, and when you get the cans on, you know, it kind of a little bit narrower. What I've got is this guy. He's a little wider. He puts out the same voltages and everything and stuff, so, and he'll look similar to what was in there. Plenty healthy enough to handle this. This is a Zenith, came out of Zenith radio, 9-tube radio. This is a 5-tube radio, so that'll probably what I'll put in it. I'll clean it up and paint it. Like I said, I already got the replacement of this. The rest of it's just straightforward, although I do have a couple coils to rewind. The dreaded, standard, typical Philco antenna coil and oscillator coil. These little, well, the one is the oscillator coil, this will be the tickler, and this is the antenna coil. This is the 0.7. It's really just the coil that's for the shortwave. It's the 0.7 here. Both those are open. As quite often the case with Philco 60s, these coils. No big deal, just a few turns of wire. I think this is like 10 turns or something, like 7 turns or something. I got the wire for it. This is a few more turns. It's not a big deal. And then other than that, just got the bait-like blocks to restuff and clean up the chassis, get rid of the rust. Depending on how it looks after I get rid of the rust, there's enough spots on there. Will be more or less, depending on what I will do with the chassis, I may paint it. I kind of cleaned a little bit here, but I think there's enough of them in a large enough area, I think they're going to show up, you know, kind of bad. Although this one will be, once the radio's in, it's going to be pretty well hidden, and so will these, really. I mean, this will be kind of pretty much underneath the transformer. The transformer is going to, unless I cut the chassis, it's going to sit a little different than what the other one did. You know, it'll set in here something like this. So, you know, the other one was turned, so it's set more like this. I don't think that's going to be that big of a deal. It's not, yeah, it's not original. And there might be someone out there who's got a parts chassis that either from a 60 or 70 or a 90. In this era, they used these style transformers. So that might be willing to sell. Anyway, I might paint this. Like I said, I'm not absolutely sure. Of course, clean it up and everything. Most of the wiring's in pretty good shape, surprisingly. I haven't actually. I've checked across here. It seemed to have good resistance, but I haven't checked it and see how well it travels. So, yeah. May have to take it apart to even get any spray in it. It's pretty sealed. So if it's a little dirty, I may have to do that. The band switch, a little crusty, but not bad. Clean him up. And of course, get the tone switch restuffed, a couple caps, and of course clean him up. And you know, basically just your standard restore stuff. and it'll be operational. It'll be just fine. Replace the grid leads and stuff in it. So a quite interesting thing. Here's one of the shorted caps. If you ever want to know what was in one of those cans, here's the .2 ground lead here. The other lead came loose when I was taking it apart. And here's a couple more. There should be somewhere. Oh, here it is. Oh, another one. That's your 5 caps is in that can. So, I believe, yeah, this is probably the .5, then .2, a couple .09s and a .05. Anyway, the interesting thing was, and I took these wires pretty much loose except for the one that was cut, but it was playing long enough. Just in case I might have wanted to not so much the color, but the size, because those go through this little hole here. Well, the thing I found out was I buy cloth colored wire from Radio Days, and it's just basically a PVC insulated wire with a cloth covering over it. Well, the stuff they used to sell, which was generally on a white drum, spool, they don't sell anymore. What they're selling now is off a black one, and it's a lot thinner. And this is really awfully close to the same size. If I go straight down over that, if it's ever so slightly bigger, so unlike the other wire was almost twice this thick. So I might be able, it'll probably work all right by just putting new wires on. Otherwise, I was going to save these old wires and tie them onto the new caps. But I think now we'll just use that and stop. So anyway, I'm saying a lot of anyways. That's where we're at. I'll be doing more videos on this. I'm also upcoming video is the pretty much the semi-final on the 38-7XX radio that I've been working on. It's up and running. I got the rubber mounts and stuff for it. They came in the other day, and I got it. It's in the cabinet right now temporarily. I've still got some gluing to do on the cabinet and stuff, but I wanted to see what it looked like sitting in there and everything. And so I got to I want to do another video on it playing. It works good. I was going to do an alignment video on it, but it would be rather boring, because once I got it up and running, I just by ear more or less kind of checked the IFs and stuff, and it was tweaked. It was good. So it might be able to, doing a proper alignment, get just a smidgen more out of it, but I doubt it. And then I've got another video for you about an Atwater Kent radio I've had for some time, but we had some repair work I had to do to it, and I want to do a video on that and show it playing. So those will be coming up soon. And then of course continued work on this. I think what I'll do is work on getting the chassis taken down and taken apart, get the like blocks out, and I want to go ahead and just drill out the rivets on these guys to get them off the chassis. The IF cans, they're press fitted on and riveted. Basically what they do is the metal extends down below this lip here, and sticks down through, and just like a rivet, they have a machine that comes up and presses these, and so you don't take them off. Or if you do take them off, you're probably never going to get them back on and stay. So they'll have to stay on, but I want to get these off and get her cleaned up. Like I said, the rubbers on here that mounted the tuning condenser, nice and soft, not cracking, not nothing, not sunk down or anything. When it's sitting in the cabinet, the everything lined up. The controls coming through the holes on the cabinet were dead center all the way around. So she's not going to need any new rubber, at least not at this point. So anyway, that's where we're at. I just wanted to give you a little update and get a video up. It's got some nice little rosette knobs that was on it. They'll clean up really nice. So it's a tuning knob and then the other three. And so I guess that is about where I'll leave off at right here. There's not much else to tell. I've got a couple filter cans to stuff. I've got another filter can to replace this. It's a little newer, but it's the same style, wet electrolytic. And I'll put it in, and I can't think of anything else. So until next time, thanks for your comments and thanks for watching. If you if you're just new to my channel and you like this kind of stuff, and also talk about how things operate and the theory of operation and stuff. If you like that kind of stuff, you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. That way you'll know when new videos come out. If you like this video, thumbs up, guys. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll get to them. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.